haven't done one of these in a while, but if you're looking for precision, power, and reliability, then look no further than the TenPoint Venom X. It's a crossbow, predominantly out of the USA, and we're going to be utilizing it for the upcoming filet deer rat season. So a little backstory about how I landed up with this weapon on my desk as we speak. Well, a very good friend of mine, like I've mentioned before, has had massive influence in the PH Journal brand going forward. Pat Dugan, he took this absolute beast of a weapon down to Maryland in Cambridge, where we hunted, or we went after sika deer. Unfortunately, none of us were lucky on that hunting trip, but I got to learn quite a bit about crossbow hunting and what it is, the intention behind it, and why we utilize such high-powered weaponry in archery season. And yes, it is classified as an archery weapon, which is a very interesting perspective, especially for me coming out of South Africa. Now, in most recent times, crossbow hunting has become extremely popular. More so, it allows you two possibilities, right? The experience of a traditional bow hunt, but also the capabilities of holding a weapon that is not really familiar on the dark continent. So something I want to talk about right off the bat. I mean, on many reviews, we normally say this towards the end, but straight out of the box, holding this piece of equipment, this weaponry, you can intentionally and immediately see that this is premium quality. Now, how I haven't managed to see on any of South African or local websites on how much this particular TenPoint Venom X really is. However, I can tell you it's between the $2,000 and $3,000 range mark from across the pond. So it is on the premium side of hunting with a crossbow, from setup to optics to mechanics on the back end of this, the actual gear set on how this whole thing really works. It screams premium right off the bat. So getting into the basic side of the Venom X, it only weighs 3.4 kilos, which is roughly about 7.8 pounds, which is relatively light for equipment that has this much bells and whistles. And with the option of shifting your sling strap up and down across the bottom of the crossbow, it allows you to have a little bit more of that comfortable feel when you are out in the bush. Because let's face facts, right? Whether you compound bow hunting or crossbow hunting, this has got to be some of the most awkward piece of equipment when walking around in the bush, especially if you're trying to be quiet and stalk an animal. So let's talk stats. Let's talk what really matters on a hunting trip. And that's all about kinetic energy and can it do the job. Well, shooting at 450 feet per second, that's kinetic energy of 170 foot-pounds, which is an incredible amount of power. So whether you're hunting darker, white-tailed deer, fallow deer, you can even go right up to kudu, eland, and you might have to crank it up a little bit to go after the elusive Black Death. So let's talk accuracy, and to help with that accuracy, we kitted this bad boy out with the EVO-X scope. This allows you to focus, dial, and adjust into certain ranges that you feel optimal. It also comes with a very cool feature. On the left hand side of the scope, it is equipped with a green and red light that illuminates inside the scope the crosshairs. So on different yardages that you'll have, it illuminates your preference, whether you want green or red, helping you have immense accuracy when you're out in the bush, and also allowing for those different scenarios. I took a couple of shots just now, and with the darker background, it was so nice to have illuminated green dots that I could judge and justify or understand which one is going to be 20, 30 and 50 yards. So let's talk trigger, right? It's equipped with the S1 trigger system. Now, for me, I will be honest and I'll be the first one to say I didn't like all the give at the beginning, because it also forces you to pull almost 3.5 pounds of pull, which is a little bit steep, especially when you're coming off hairline triggers on your certain kind of caliber rifles. I like to feel my shot because it's like a golf swing for me. I like to talk myself through the routine, and as I follow through, I make sure I don't unexpectedly anticipate the shot. So while I know you can adjust this a little bit, it doesn't allow for much room of adjustment. So you're still going to be pulling over 3 pounds of pull. So safety wise, nothing gets more safe than this piece of equipment. So at the top, immediately once the bow is drawn back, it automatically kicks itself into safety, and it prevents from accidental misfires. Another crucial feature when you're out in the bush, especially if you're going to be walking around with the string fully drawn back. So now, while I haven't really used this bow on any hunting trip, I've seen it in action, I've shot it a couple of times, and we'll be seeing it for the first time in action on the feather deer hunt coming up in a month's time. I can't really have a definite answer for you whether this will be something that I would really advise individuals to be looking into. However, there's a couple of reasons. There's pros and cons to everything, right? Of course, it has enough firepower behind it to hunt majority of the game that South Africa has to offer. With the safety features, it allows for the little ones to get involved, from kids, I'm sure as old as 10 years and above would be. It allows them to have a completely different experience from hunting rifles. It's lightweight, compact, and easy to maneuver around when you are out in those difficult scenarios in the bush. It's highly accurate. Like I said, I've taken about 10 or 15 shots of this at a target, and when I've dialed in pretty close to what the crosshairs have me at, I'm bang on, normally within a 5 rand diameter of about 5 shots. And of course, the build quality is out of this world. I wouldn't say I've used and abused it as quite yet, but it has been used relatively well and has held out to the tough conditions that it has been. Of course, there are some basic maintenance that you guys need to take into consideration, especially with any bow you've got, by waxing the strings and making sure that all moving parts are well lubricated for the longevity of this incredible weapon. So what are the cons? Well, from a South African point of view, it's very rarely accessible, this particular bow. However, there are a couple of other different options out there from different suppliers. If you go down to a couple of the local bow stores, they'll have crossbows like Raven and other premium brands out there, really showcasing the popularity of the crossbow industry in South Africa. Now while I'm kind of unfamiliar with the crossbow era in South Africa, I'm super excited to give this bad boy a try on the upcoming feather deer rut season. Now if you guys haven't, go along and check last year's episode of our feather deer rut and all the fun we had on that expedition. We're going to the same place with the same hunters this year. Unri will be taking her first shot with this particular crossbow, and hopefully I'll have an opportunity a little bit later. Our main goal is to try and experience different hunting techniques, right? So Unri coming from a rifle background, myself being more a compound bow utilizer, it's very, very cool to be able to try out different scenarios, try out different techniques, different weaponry, because ultimately that is what hunting is all about. It's about moments, it's about experience. So My first glance look, or my first glance opinion on the TenPoint Venom X is that it's a piece of magnificent machinery, ingenuity at its finest. It will be able to do the job, and I'm really looking forward to utilizing this on some really exciting hunting adventures coming up in the not so distant future. Well guys, in conclusion, it's less than a month away. The feather deer rut season in the Eastern Cape is about to kick off, and I can't wait to bring you guys along for the ride. So if you are, happy hunting. Until then, stay safe, stay blessed, and stay humble. We'll catch up with you guys soon.